This one's wife. How dare you? Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Before we get into the meat of the latest chicanery from this one's wife, some history, some education. Armistice Day. Armistice Day is commemorated every year on the 11th of November to mark the armistice signed between the Allies of World War I and Germany for the cessation of hostilities on the Western Front of World War I, which took effect at 11 a.m., the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. Even though it marked the end of the war, there was shelling that went on by both sides for the rest of the day, and it ended only at nightfall. The armistice initially expired after a period of 36 days and had to be extended several times, and a formal peace agreement, was reached only when the Treaty of Versailles was signed the following year. So Armistice Day takes place on the 11th of November, and in the United Kingdom it's observed with a 2-minute silence on the 11th hour. In the UK, we have a main service that takes place on Remembrance Sunday, the closest Sunday to the 11th of November. So this year we had Remembrance Sunday, which took place on the 9th of November, and then we had the observation of Armistice Day on the 11th, which was yesterday. In the United States, they have Veterans Day. Now, it used to be known as Armistice Day. Veterans Day is also observed on November the 11th, and it's done to honour military veterans of the United States Armed Forces. Essentially, it commemorates anybody that's served, so all US veterans. It's distinct from Memorial Day, which takes place on the last Monday of May. Memorial Day, which grew out of Civil War commemorations, specifically honours those who've died while in military service. Accordingly, Veterans Day is on the 11th of November and is for those that have served in the US forces. Memorial Day is for those that have died while in military service. That's the distinction. There are, of course, other countries that commemorate it. In France, it's Armistice. It's also known as Remembrance Day on the 11th. In Belgium, it's Armistice Day. It's been a public holiday in Serbia since 2012. Serbian forces suffered the largest casualty rate in World War I. In Poland, the 11th of November is observed as National Independence Day, which is a public holiday to commemorate the anniversary of the restoration of Poland's sovereignty as the Second Polish Republic in 1918. In Romania, Armistice Day is observed as Veterans Day or Combat Theatre Veterans Day. Ceremonies are held in Kenya over the weekend 2 weeks after Armistice Day. That's because news of the armistice only reached Kenya about a fortnight later, where the German and British commanders then had to agree on the protocols for their own armistice ceremony. A bit of brief history about Armistice Day, or what is known as Veterans Day, in the United States. A solemn and important occasion to commemorate those that had lost their lives as a consequence of conflict, with Armistice Day in the United Kingdom now not only commemorating the end of the First World War, but remembering and honouring the war dead in all subsequent wars also. With Veterans Day, that's about commemorating and recognising those who have served and are serving in the US forces. It is meant to be a day about thinking about others, of utilising that day for remembering those that are involved in potentially making the greatest sacrifice that can be made in the defence of one's country, or those who did make the ultimate sacrifice. In the United Kingdom, on Remembrance Sunday, services take place up and down the entire length and breadth of the country at cenotaphs, with the last post being played. At football matches, it's recognised also, with the last post being played. People purchase poppies to demonstrate their support, and in the silence that takes place, people remember the sacrifice that has been made. Similarly, in the United States, recognition is given for those that continue to provide and have provided service to their country. It is a solemn, meaningful, and important occasion. So, it ought to ordinarily be recognised with appropriate solemnity, tradition, and importance. This one's wife then does this.
It wasn't done in the wrong way, but it was just...
This one's wife, as you know, has not served. Her husband, the Prince of Pink Pancakes, has. He was in the British Army for a period of time. This one's wife, once again, takes to her Instagram and posts a reel which starts with what you can see on the screen. As my husband says, once served, always serving. Thank you to all who served, sacrificed and continued to serve, honouring you on Veterans Day and every day. Yeah. So you went to a trashy party over the weekend where your husband wore a poppy. Did you think to say to him, don't, it's inappropriate? No, you didn't, because you don't give a shit. The fact is, this narcissist stating honouring you on Veterans Day and every day is just performative nonsense, whereby she is utilising a commemoration in order to make her look good, to make it look like she cares. Notice my husband, the objectification of Harry once again, and the utilisation of a picture of Harry meeting a veteran, and posting this in a sanctimonious way to make it seem like she cares. She doesn't. She's a narcissist. All she cares about is making herself look good. She doesn't comprehend how this looks self-serving, because her narcissism doesn't allow her to do so. She also, as you have just seen, put up a video of Harry, which was taken from an interview a number of years ago when he was serving in Afghanistan, where it was made to look as if there was some kind of emergency partway through the interview, so he had to go sprinting off to help out. Made him look like the dashing hero. It's been repeatedly alleged that this was staged, and it was just done to make him look good. That might be the case. We know that he was in Afghanistan. Reports, of course, as to what he actually did there vary. Harry claims that he killed numerous members of the Taliban, something that he wrote about in Spare. There are other soldiers who have stated that he didn't kill anybody, that he wasn't allowed to fire a single shot, that all he did was stay at Camp Bastion, that he was Bunker Harry, that he went up in an Apache for 10 minutes for the purposes of filming, and that was it. He was kept well away from the action. And eventually he left early because he was a distraction and a target. You will be able to form your own view as to whether that's accurate or not. But the fact is, whether you go down on the side of, well, he conducted legitimate service and these naysayers are just troublemakers who are inventing things, or whether you think, no, I believe what these other soldiers have said, that Harry's participation was minimal. The fact is, this one's wife is once again, by way of character trait acquisition, utilising the experience or supposed experience of somebody else and passing it off in order to make her look more impressive. It's also the case that it's this bragging about her husband because he's an extension of her. Oh, look at my husband, as he once said, once served, always serving. Here's a picture of my husband with a veteran. Here's some footage of my husband when he was in Afghanistan. Isn't he dashing? Isn't he a hero? Isn't he a fox? And it completely shits on the actual message that should be, which is we remember the fallen and we remember those that have been involved in the provision of service to their country. Whether it's the UK commemoration or the United States commemoration, the fact is it's not about you. It is about other people. Those who are serving, those who have served, and those that made the ultimate sacrifice. And this vacuous, vapid, idiotic woman, once again, driven by her narcissism, comes along and hijacks Armistice Day and Veterans Day to say, we're honouring you. You're not. You're using it in a self-serving manner. You're utilising your husband, who happened to serve, as an extension of yourself to make yourself look good, and you shouldn't even be talking about your husband, given the suggestions that his service was iffy. Why not show some other veterans? Talk about somebody else other than you and him for a change. But we know she won't do that. This isn't about the commemoration of veterans. It's This One's Wife and Harry show once again. Look at us. Look at my husband, because he's an extension of me. Ooh, he was in the forces. Ooh, let's commemorate him. Wasn't he brave? Wasn't he dashing? What a hero. Look at me, because of my husband. It's an absolute insult to anybody that is in the forces. An absolute insult to all those who have given their lives in the defence of their country. She might as well have turned up and twerked in front of the cenotaph in London, because it's the same level of contempt that she exhibits. Naturally, she doesn't realise, because of her narcissism and the fact that she's rather dense, what she's doing. She thinks, in her deluded bubble, that she's doing the right thing and being pleasant and empathic by demonstrating this commemoration. But to anybody that understands the way that this narcissist functions, you can tell this is self-serving, vapid, empty. It is character trait acquisition, and it is an absolute insult. And how dare she do this in relation to the armed forces? I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for watching.